consider four-dimensional space, and that these other off-world beings are doing the same thing, but they create other fourth-dimensional space through these algorithms, so it's not really dimensions at all. At least that's what I was told. I don't know what your idea about that is, but I think the confusion that comes in is that we're trying to discuss. We got one foot in one world, and we got another foot in another.
That's
world.
a good analogy. My father used to say that about me. He said I was really stuck
that's why
over there.
It's confusing. You know, in the constantly occurring space that we're in, you're talking to your father because he still exists.
Yes.
Simultaneously, at the same time,
Yeah.
you're trying to talk to people here that are in fourth-dimensional space in terms of fourth-dimensional space. So we go back and forth, and it's confusing sometimes.
It's confusing all the time.
All
yes.
the time, yeah. It comes and goes. It comes and goes with me, but you know.
Well, we're limited beings, and because we're limited, when you do infinity, that's why it lays sideways. It's a crazy 8.
Yeah, but this is like, the way I understand it, it's like we're in one great thought that's existing at all, existing.
I might be able to help.
Okay.
If the tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, is there any sound? It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You know, who cares? If there's no humans, the universe is not aware of itself. So it doesn't matter that it exists. So do we matter? You're darn right. We matter a lot. Are you supposed to know how powerful a being you are? You're God, and that's who you are. And do you realize that? No, we don't realize that. And this fellow that was channeling last night, actually, he made a lot of sense, and it scared the heck out of me. But yeah, that's basically. I mean, that's what. This is not me. This is Edward Casey speaking. You know, and if you read on him, I think he has one of the best analogies of what existence is in one of his books than anything there is. Basically, there's more pins, there's more atoms on a pinhead than there are grains of sand in the world. That's a huge number. A gagon is a 1-inch letter around the circumference of the earth, squared. Square that. That's a big number, you know. Now, there's something more than there is even of that, and that's time. Time is infinite. But there's only so many souls. You create so many souls. So what happens as these souls reincarnate? Each one has the chance to play number uno.
Yeah, I think what's happening to us is that we that have created the mess, if you look at it on a timeline, we who have created this mess, we have all had participated in the creation of the problems that we have today in prior lives, if you want to do it out. And so we're back now to correct the imbalance so that we can all move forward, both ourselves here and the off-world folks, because we're not separate from them.
Yeah.
And that we're executing a plan. We're executing a plan in which people have been embedded throughout all society, and they've been nourished from childhood, from birth to death, to take on certain roles, and within this overall plan. And that's what's happening to you and I, and whatever, as we integrate ourselves into the networks.
My father, he made me really angry a lot of times because he had all these corporations that just, you know, he funded and such, and I said, why do I have to work as a grease monkey? Why can't I go to work for Norfolk? Why can't I go to work here, Dad? Because he never let me fit into the norm. He didn't want me in anything that I didn't even finish high school. He didn't want me educated by the system, and he wanted me to stay out of the system because he knew I had certain gifts, and he didn't want these contaminated. Now, children have imaginations. Those aren't imagination, those are gifts. And they get contaminated from within our society. So you're right, we're told to think within the box, and we do think within the box. And our system of schooling needs changed and educated. Not saying that we need, Harry Potter? We don't need, by the way, I was born on Halloween, and my sister was born on Halloween 6 years later. And boy, did that mess me up as a kid, let me tell you. And then my dad would show me the 2 X's in my hand, you know, and he said, You know. But it did teach me to use this. And if you use this and you exercise it, but you know, don't go crazy on it. Don't start thinking that E.T. is going to come here and save us, because I don't believe he is. And my father's exact words were, and I hate to say this, but I'm just going to say it the way he said, we're too rotten to save. That's the way he thought. And here's a man that never said a cuss word, never laid a hand on me. I mean, he was too good for his own good, but yet he sees dead people in wars and such like that, and had tremendous mental abilities and such. And yet he sees, of course, maybe that's because he was a colonel and he military, and he saw the negative side of it. You know, I hope he was wrong, but he also died under a lot of adversity. When my father passed away, we were being sued by the book. We got no money from the book. It was all stolen. And it was really a very bad time. So when I hear my dad say that, I consider the times that he said it. I don't think he really meant it. And how can you when he loved my 3 boys, you know, and I'm sure he would want the best for them. And that's why the book was written, by the way. It even says that in The Day After Roswell. He felt that young people could handle it by knowing the truth. I got to tell you real quick about something. He would go into the Pentagon, and he says there was a room that they would go into like a jail cell. And he says you weren't allowed to take anything into the room. No paper, no pencils, nothing to record anything whatsoever. And you go in there, and you'd come out, whatever question you asked would be answered, and you'd come out with that question. And I asked him, was that E.T. in there? He never answered me. He would never say a word. I guess it was classified, so, you know, a military man would not say anything. I thought it was E.T. in there. So I just brought that up real quick to let you know that maybe there was one in the Pentagon. I don't know. You think so? Okay. You hear him say that? Yeah. Well, he talked about it quite often. He talked about a lot of stuff that is not in the books. And what I hope to do is modify this book a little bit. Maybe a section in the back that I'm speaking of now of our conversations when I used to sit on the floor. How's our time doing?
10 minutes left.
10 minutes left, okay. What would you like to talk about?
Well, can I ask
Paula. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was noticing her.
Okay. You had said that you actually connect into the planes and the computers and that they're pretty much alive.
Oh, yes.
What do you do with a car that just keeps breaking? I mean, you know, I really am serious about this because...
Who owned it before you?
An ex-boyfriend.
Well, there you go. Get a new car.
Well, I'm selling it for him.
Pardon me?
I'm trying to sell it for him.
Good for you.
It keeps breaking.
Give it back to him.
He's not here on the island, so...
Okay.
But I'm just curious, is there a way that we
Are you
can...
serious?
I really am serious.
I'm sorry.
How you can connect with them to find out how to release some of that old energy or whatever.
I don't know. I worked for a company called Larry Smith Electronics, and I finally quit because I was so frustrated. Because every time I would go in to fix an autopilot, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to put the 183 IC in it, and I'd plug it in, and the thing would work. Always the same IC, you know, and the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 that it's not the same IC each time. So I say, how do I write this up? So I would write it up. Do I have that ability? Yeah. I don't know where it comes from. You know, it comes from my father. He did not have that ability. His was different, you know, with photographic memory and such. But yes, I have that ability. So I don't know if you can do that, if you've learned to do that, you know. So it's not something...
Very intuitive, but I'm having the hardest time with this car.
Well, love it. It's hard for a woman to love a car. I guess they can. Polish it. I'm serious.
I did.
Okay.
Polish it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying that every machine is alive. I'm just saying that there are people that have connections with machinery. And my connections are not with every machine. But when I build an airplane, it's definitely connected there. I don't want to turn it over to the owner. And when I do turn it over to the owner, he better treat it nice. We've taken many of our planes and resold, you know, and I still keep in touch with them. They're my children. Yes, Paul?
Okay, what I wanted to say was that we really